you guys.
DeLon Wright has 9 shots in about 15 minutes in preseason so far. What's the ideal role you see for him in this offense?
In 15 minutes?
In 15. 9 shots in 15 minutes.
Play basketball. Play the game. Take open shots. When he gets the ball in situations where he can attack space, he's very good at that. And he's going to, on most nights, have a tough defensive assignment with the other team's point guard. But if you're asking if I'm concerned about a low number of shots in preseason, I'm not. I'm not. I think, we got 2 games left to try to continue to work these things out. It's just, with 3 of our main guys out, and Powell, Brunson, and Finney-Smith, it's going to be hard to get a real total picture. So we just got to work through this, go hard with the guys we have available, and, have him just continue to stay on track of working hard and being aggressive and getting a feel for the guys he's playing with. New team.
What's the most important thing as a coach when you've got maybe 3 or 4 young guys on the floor that are maybe rookies or second-year players? And I think about it from the standpoint of the Thunder in the first preseason game against you guys. They had 4 guys on the floor at one time that were 3 21-year-olds and a 19-year-old. As a coach, what's the most important thing when you have those young groups together? What are you looking for as a coach?
Well, we started the second half with 5 guys that were very young as well. We had our center was 6'4", so we were in the same situation essentially, But for me, the important thing is simplicity. Go hard. Make simple plays. And look, it's a game of execution. So if you take care of the ball and get back and keep people in front of you, you're gonna have a chance to have success out there. Now that particular team, I think we were down pretty big at halftime. Those guys went out, and busted their butts, went hard, and at one point, Baba had a fast break reverse layup, and it actually gave us a 1-point lead sometime in the third quarter, and we weren't able to sustain that. But those guys were a good example of the approach that works if you got a bunch of young guys playing together. They're all trying to make it, and that's what it's got to be. It's got to be hard and simple.
Is JJ ahead physically of where you thought he would be at this point, or does it feel like he's back to about where you thought he would be?
Well, I think he's ahead of where most people thought he would be. I'm not shocked because he's a guy that does remarkable things. It's been kind of his calling card as an athlete. He's been doing extremely well, has had no setbacks. Tonight will be the second game that he plays. And so this is big, just to build on, the 12 or 13 minutes from the last game and keep trying to, work on rhythm and getting your NBA game legs. That's something that is the bigger challenge.
Rick, back when you played, team scored 100 points, that was a lot of points. How difficult was it nowadays to become used to the fact that...
You say that in a way that sounds disparaging. I think you should check. You should check the stats. I think you'll find that the scores were much higher than that. But go ahead.
Well, I know in ABA it was, but how difficult was it to become used to the fact that 100 points is not a lot of points, and you may need more than that to get to 40 wins as far as per game per season?
Well, look, with the pace of the game and the level of skill, everything has gone up. You're looking at it with respect to how much you score, and the inverse side of that is what you can do to limit the opponent, and that's a big part of it, because the more you can limit the opponent and get stops, the greater your chances and the higher quality your chances will be offensively. And so we've this last 9-10 days we've really we're going to turn our attention far more to the defensive side. It's just, it's so important, and, you know, we're hoping to get some healthy bodies back later this week, and we'll see how we are with that, but, yeah. And look, I don't know what the exact numbers are going to be as far as what it's going to take to win, but 100 will still be a benchmark of some sort.
Rick, I know
Maxi's talked a couple of times this past couple weeks about wanting to improve overall. But what ways in the past couple weeks have you seen him really attack improvements or seen him focus in like that?
He's just a relentless worker. That's the biggest thing. You know, he's a get there early, stay after guy. You know, his shooting has been a major improvement over the first 2 years. You know, if you look at it, you know, range, ease of, you know, shooting the ball, you know, deeper and deeper all the time, and so, you know, it's that stuff. And again, I think I answered this question a couple days ago. The thing with him is, and this is true of all guys that are playing two positions. The skill set is quite a bit different between 5 and 4. You know, now our 5 men, in many cases, have the option to trail and shoot threes or pop and shoot threes, but they also have to roll. And so, you know, it's the skill set and the timing of your rolls, the urgency of rolls. You know, how you're able to catch and make plays, those kinds of things, along with, you know, being able to pop back and do those kinds of things. And then, you know, more and more, 5 men are becoming playmakers. And so, you know, the passing becomes another element that is thrown in there. But he's doing real well. You know, and I wouldn't overly concern myself with, you know, numbers in preseason, what the stats look like. Guys aren't necessarily playing their normal stretches of minutes in most cases. But he's a very important guy to us.
Do you have any specific examples or moments these past couple weeks where he's shown you that he's taking to those multiple kinds of roles well?
Yeah, I think just on a steady basis, he's just like, he'll play both 4 and 5 tonight. And so it's that kind of stuff, and he's working on it every day. And so, you know, that's kind of how I see it.
Rick, you said a minute ago, you referenced Finney-Smith and Brunson. I saw they were questionable on the injury report. Does that mean it's just a little minor thing that's keeping those guys out tonight?
Yes, hopefully. That's the desired result. Yeah. So, you know, if all goes well, you know, we feel there's a good chance we'll have those guys practicing on Wednesday, if all goes well.
Rick, Luka and KP have been having some crazy shootouts in practice. Seems like they're bonding really well. How important is off-the-court chemistry to developing on-court chemistry?
Well, they go hand in hand in a lot of ways. You know, those guys bond on a lot of levels. They're both they both came up through systems where they spent time in Spain, learned the language of Spanish. They're both fluent in Spanish. And oftentimes they talk to each other in Spanish. And so, you know, they're just, and I think their experiences from a young age mirror each other, at least on some level. So, yeah, I had no doubt, no one had any doubt that they were going to be guys that became good friends and would ultimately be close off the court. And I feel those kinds of things, you know, ultimately are going to lead to them bonding and becoming more familiar with one another on the court as well.
When you have a player like Luka on still on an entry-level deal, is it that much more important for the organization to take a big swing around him like they did with the KP trade? And do you have to worry about that weighing on him, that he's such a focal point for all these organizational moves at this young age?
Rephrase your question. I'm just not sure I understand what you're saying.
I mean, the organization last year, they traded away players.
Well, no, look, the moves that we've made have been to get the team better and get the franchise stronger. You're getting into a narrative that is making it all about him, and look, he's a great young player, and so that's going to certainly factor into organizational decisions on the basketball side. But you're talking about a kid that's been playing professional basketball for 6 or 7 years. He's been multiple MVPs in Europe. He's been a multiple champion in Europe. He's been the best player most of the time when he's been on the floor. This is old hat to him, I would think.
Is that how you?
I think your concerns are far greater than his.
No, which is good. I mean, that's kind of my question. Like, does that come across to you? Like, does he kind of act like a player who's,
He's not concerned.
Yeah.
He's not concerned. It's a good question. It's just but you gotta think about it in terms of what his last 6.5 years have looked like, and it's been extremely atypical. Like the greatest players in European history and international history. I don't know how old Ginobili was when he came over, but he was not 19. He was in his early 20s, early to mid 20s. I was with Petrovic, 2 of his first 3 years in the NBA, and he was on into his 20s as well. And so, this is a different time, and things get ramped up much earlier. And so these kids are, kids like him, and of which there aren't many, by the way, relatively unfazed.
How did you feel when you were a rookie? Like, were you phased?
The Boston Celtics in 1984 were not building the team around me. So I was not as concerned as your question may have suggested.
No, we're just, I'm just. It's just
everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
I mean, we got, and at this time of year, everybody's got different things on their mind, and so right now my job is to get our team's mind more on defense, that's a big deal in the next 8 or 9 days.
Anything else?
Just a second, hold it one second.
And I know that this is Sarah's last home game.
Coach, that's what I was
Officially.
going to ask you. Could you please
And
tell
so-
us about the MVP, please, Coach? Your MVP.
Oh man, you're gonna bring me to tears.
Yeah, me.
Well, listen, I don't know what to say. It's a little crazy to be saying goodbye in a preseason game like this. And she's going to be on the Vancouver trip, and we're going to have a nice dinner on Wednesday night in Vancouver in her honor. But she's one of the most amazing people I've ever come across in my 3.5 decades. And what we got here? We got a.
Oh, present?
On behalf of the media, we've been covering this great woman. Dwayne Price standing next to me, I'm not by myself. Sarah, would you come forth, please?
Oh wow! Wow, let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand.
And stage coach.
On behalf of the media, we've been covering this great woman. Dwayne Price standing next to me, I'm not by myself. Sarah, would you come forth, please?
Wow!
Oh, I like that.
And stage coach.
Because of you, I'm now in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Aww.
Because of you, I'm now the play-by-play for the Ardmore Tigers. Because of you, I have been to the top and won 7 awards for Best Radio Announcer. And because of this person right here, there have been times we come home, we come to this place, we lost our jobs, but you always said, how are you doing? So we give you this lantern, put out your door as a light to remember the media that covered you, and we love you.
Thank you so much.